across from the abortion clinic every fall. It has for 10 years without incident. And this bubble zone will prevent that. So 10 years of excellent behavior, prayerful, peaceful behavior, is going to be stymied by unreported, undocumented, isolated accusations. So it is disappointing.
We don't at this point in time know how big that bubble zone is going to be, though. Why are you saying this will impact your ability to demonstrate?
It's across the street. Hopefully it wouldn't, but what was rumored was 500 meters. Hopefully that's not the case. Perhaps it will only be the sidewalk itself in front of the clinic. If across the street is safe, that's where 40 Days for Life has been occurring for the last 10 years. So you're right, it wouldn't affect that. Let's hope that that's as narrow as the bubble zone is, if this is the political response.
If these are isolated incidences and you know, you guys are respecting their ability to access the clinic, then what difference does this legislation make? Then it doesn't impact you.
It will depend on the depth and breadth of the bubble zone. Once we know how big it is, we'll know how impacted the pro-life movement is. There are times where the last person a woman in crisis or a girl in crisis will see might be a pro-lifer, and it would be deeply disturbing. I don't doubt it, because she's in a crisis, doing something that possibly would be coerced or out of desperation, and sees no hope. That last person that she sees, that gentle interaction, which has been my experience of the pro-life movement, a gentle interaction, maybe the one thing she needs to say, this isn't something I have to do. So, although the sidewalk in front of the abortion clinic, we should be allowed to exercise our free speech there within legal parameters of good behavior, civility, etc. We certainly hope that across the street we will not be impeded either.
The fact remains that abortion is legal in this province, in this country. So why isn't legislation like this necessary to protect the rights of those people who are going in, who feel harassed and threatened?
Right. Abortion isn't a right. It's not a constitutional right. When the decision was made in 1988, the Supreme Court actually did put the responsibility back into Parliament to address this situation. So the fact that we live in a lawless state surrounding abortion is just because Parliament has not addressed it. Now, women are accessing abortion. I agree, there's no right, but it is not a criminal offense. But alternatives that can also respect a woman and respect the unborn child, these are alternatives that need to be communicated. And given the state of our culture today, sometimes that communication has to take place right outside the clinic. This is not an anti-woman or meant to be a hostile response to the lack of laws. It's really meant to be a compassionate outreach just before she goes in to exercise her decision.
Will you respect the law?
I know there are pro-lifers who, as a public statement of what is occurring within the abortion clinic, because let's not forget, unborn children are losing their lives in these clinics. I know there are pro-lifers like Linda Gibbons who are not respecting the injunctions. But I think most pro-lifers, the vast majority, will make a personal decision on how close they will be, how, depending on the law. We don't know the depth and breadth of that bubble zone. Many will feel that they have to reach out, but I think the majority will respect it. We'll just wait to see.
And will you fight the legislation?
Right now, there's many of us are talking about it, discussing it. What can we do? So it's premature. I'm sure there will be meetings about it throughout the movement with different organizations.
Okay, I think that's good.
It's gonna be too short.
Yeah, and then can we get a visual of you maybe talking to somebody or just some way to say, but we'll just get a shot of us talking together first of all.
For sure, okay.
Yeah. What can you do to fight the legislation?
Well, that's the other thing. Fortunately, we do have lawyers who are generous with their time and their talents, so they'll give us the avenues if there are any. Sometimes you do it just for the public statement of it, just to reassert the freedom of speech and our right to communicate even at that last moment. So it may be a lost cause, but one that we're accustomed to fighting.
And if If this bubble zone impedes your annual event, would you break that bubble zone in order to continue with your annual event?
I think that the organizers and the volunteers who attend really would have to decide that. We are the umbrella organization. We brought 40 Days for Life into Canada. We'd have to wait and see what the people would be willing to do. It can be exceedingly counterproductive to break the law, but peaceful public protest and breaking an unjust law sometimes is required. But I don't know as an organization that we would come out and suggest that.
Will you say that on camera?
Yeah.
I can't remember what you said.
I don't know. Ask me the question again.
I know, I'm trying to think what was my question. Well, yeah.
Well, if I can
My
recall.
My question was, if this impedes your ability to have your annual event, will you break the law?
I don't think as an organization we would suggest that. Campaign Life Coalition brought 40 Days for Life into Canada, but it is at arm's length now and it's organized by volunteers and attended by volunteers. I don't think we would suggest to them that they break the injunction. What personal people do to communicate the pro-life message will be up to them. It's not something that we would encourage necessarily, but it's premature to say.
But you were saying that sometimes I guess the cause is worth.
Well, indeed. Sometimes peaceful protesting and civil disobedience is called for. And if that's the case, individuals may do that. I don't know as an organization if we would suggest that. But certainly we have people like Linda Gibbons and Mary Wagner who have decided that this is what they want to fight for, and they do break the law.
Okay. Alrighty.